Broadcasting live from the Maximilian ravaged bayous of Louisiana. It's I, Maximilian. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope this broadcast is finding you well and peaceful. And if you're watching, I told you not to, Kaiju Kitty. And Rowdy, both of you are delightfully horrible at obeying orders. So good for you. Okay, as always, old business first. I have in my hand a receipt for shipping 2 boxes to Colombia. Dens, when you watch this, dear God, sir. So it was in grand total to ship, let's see, $301.30, which is funny because that is probably more than what the actual toys cost. But that's okay, because we have officially, as of today, sent Action Force to Colombia. We're going to talk about some things tonight, and I'm going to draw. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is, okay, hold on. Let me back up just a little bit. So for the last number of years, I have been predominantly incapacitated, with my knees going out, with all this, with my robot neck and everything. YouTube has been my pretty much main form of communication and environment. And yes, I'm shipping to Colombia, not from Colombia. And I'm somebody who pays attention to a lot of things. Unlike a lot of people on YouTube, and I'm again, and I do not want to generalize with anything said tonight. I have been involved with pop culture, multi-generational pop culture, since I was 3 days old. My parents were in the antique business, which is about 5 generations back in pop cultures, where I like action figures. You know, my mother likes old glassware, Fostoria, and different brands, antique lamps, things like that. I like Action Force. My father was a gun collector and someone who also enjoyed glass. He has probably one of the most cataloged collections of cup plates, little bitty cup plates. I know you're like 6'7", gigantic of a man. My father, Vietnam War veteran, and he very much enjoyed little saucers, going all the way back. I'm fairly certain he, don't hold me to this, but I'm fairly certain he either bid on or won a Lincoln White House cup plate. I don't know the story. Cup plates ain't my thing, but pop culture is something that, as a tattooer for the last 30 years, I have been just involved with on a daily basis. So, where some YouTubers, this is a hobby or a secondary thing that they do, this is every day of my life. Now, the YouTube thing for me, absolutely new. That I'm still getting used to. If I ever get used to it, I don't quite know if I fit in yet. After tonight, I might not. Um, I hope I will. I've met some wonderful people, and even the ones that I find myself disagreeing with on a sometimes fundamental level, I still can find the goodness in them and a way to communicate. And usually that's through pop culture. Um, but yeah, and that's one thing that I really hope to solidify tonight. Um, Rowdy. To stop and backtrack just a little bit, everybody needs to go over to Rowdy Riles' page. She can do membership, and I promise you, those 3 o'clock in the morning, high as hell toy videos and just regular ramblings are very rowdy and very Riley and worth paying 99 cents a month for. And also, as I'm sure that just Jeff will tell you, also check out Retro Freaks on Amazon. Buy it, and coming soon, or maybe already out because I don't pay attention to shit. Rowdy Retro Freak, too many fucking R's. We're past 3-minute mark. I can cuss finally. Retro Freaks 2, all of it on Amazon Prime. Go check it out. But anyway, I'm going to talk about some things tonight, and I want to establish some ground rules with it. Even though some of this may touch on some things that Saruman that may seem political, I'm not approaching it from that front. I am approaching this strictly from a sociological level. Observance of pop culture and human behavior and our infinite need of curiosity and how sometimes that and belonging and how that can sometimes open the door for people who can change you. And I've seen this happen, especially when I was in the tattoo business. You'd have a great crew, people that you could spend time with for years. And you get that one guy in the shop and it starts out slow, just a spoonful of medicine helps the sugar go down. Anyway, but that one bad actor, he gets in there and he knows he doesn't belong, but instead of just saying this isn't my scene, he wants to he's going to fundamentally change it so it fits him instead of just finding a place where he belongs. And I've noticed a lot of that, and especially over the last few months, especially. And I don't want to single anybody out, but I'm sure that there will be, I run a few tight circles, and I'm sure that there will be a few people who, um, I'm not going to, mention any names, but that will feel that I'm talking about them. And you're probably right. So, um, but that is just something that I'm not coming from a place of hate or anything like that. I want to come as a place of this isn't good human behavior. And again, politics has a way of trying to grab at pop culture and create culture wars. And they do that because they know that is the one thing that you think people talk about their favorite toy and they get shitty. It's people in power will always want that. So do not misunderstand me and think for 1 minute that I'm making this a political issue. This is a we need better manners issue. And so I've got kind of a list of things, and I don't know, I may draw tonight. I've got my iPad set up, and I should probably draw something. I've got plenty to work on, so I thought that I might just draw and let's chat. Yeah. Oh, and that's it. It's but and you'll see as we go on with this that that's one thing, and honestly, that's a little bit fun, and that's one thing that has never really bothered me. You know, it's I'm going to leave that comment up. Oh, you're very welcome, Rowdy. Thanks for being you and just existing. Um, this is one thing that has never really bothered me around uh, toy reviewers and people across the lines of YouTube. It's having differences of opinions when it comes to toys helps create better criticism of those toys, be it constructive criticism, negative criticism, or just all around positive criticism. Um, and it's kind of funny to watch again. I think, as they say it around the YouTube world, a bunch of grown men piss and moan about somebody, attacking their dollies. And that's fun. And that's absolutely not anything that I'm talking about tonight. Some of the things that I'm talking about tonight are just where you have comments that are almost wholly made because somebody wants to test the water and see if this is where it's not political, but it touches on it. It you want to see if you're in the right tribe, because all this comes down to tribalism, and everybody wants to know they can belong, and some people don't need to belong to any place. Uh, there was a series of tweets when Twitter was still Twitter, uh, from a guy called I'm a Rage Sparkle. And the story's known throughout, and it kind of touches along the lines. Now I'm going to paraphrase this just a little bit. And I was a shitty crust punk. I was at a shitty crust punk bar once getting an after hour beer. One of those shitholes where the bartender clearly hates you. So the bartender and I were ignoring one another when somebody sits next to me and he immediately says, "No, get out." And the dude next to me says, "Hey, not doing anything. I'm a paying customer." And the bartender reaches under the counter for a bat or something and says, "Out now." And the dude leaves, kind of yelling. And he was dressed in a punk uniform, I noticed. And there's a difference. Anyway, I asked what that was about. And the bartender was like, "You didn't see his vest?" And there's words that YouTube doesn't like us using. He says, "It was all that Yahtzee shit, iron crosses and stuff. You get to recognize them." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he continues, "You have to nip it in the bud immediately. These guys come in, and it's always nice and polite ones. And you serve them because you don't want to create a scene. And then they become a regular, and after a while, they bring a friend. And that dude's cool too. And then they bring friends, and the friends bring friends, and they stop being cool. And then you realize, oh shit, now this is a Yahtzee bar. And it's too late because you're entrenched, they're entrenched. And if you try to kick them out, they cause a problem. So you have to shut them down early." And I was like, damn, yeah. You have to ignore their reasonable arguments because their end goal is to be terrible, awful people. And then he went back to ignoring me, but I haven't forgotten it at all. Now, the reason I am telling this is not because I am old school crust punk. I used to wear the nice little, nowadays I don't know what they call us, gutter punks or something like that, but it was but I want to change this story around a little bit and make it relevant to a lot of the communities. And again, I am speaking across the board, and I'm not pointing out anybody in particular. Believe me, if there was just cause, I would absolutely say this is the idiot right here who's doing this shit. But it's not to that level yet that I feel I need to say something other than what I'm saying now. But I've noticed in a lot of communities that one or two little people are creeping in, or somebody makes a comment, and like myself, and I am guilty of this within the last 48 hours, in fact, of somebody make a comment that I found absolutely disgusting and revolting. And instead of speaking up, I didn't say anything. And I know that if I didn't say something now, then I'm justifying it to that person who said it. And it's okay for them to continue doing it. And this shit has upset me I've genuinely upset me. I love joking around and having a good time. And humor is, um, humor is always relative. I don't get every joke, and some of them are listen. I used to tell some jokes that I guarantee you that you know uh, I would not tell myself this day. Um, and it's not about stopping comedy. It's because most of us, we're not fucking comedians. Almost nobody I know on YouTube, with the exception of few, have any kind of English degree. Um, Very few of us sit and write scripts. We think of this place as a locker room, and and sometimes it is, and sometimes that's okay. Uh, but we've gotten to the point where nobody's saying anything. And then that gets the attention of people who think that's okay. And then they broaden your group. And then it becomes their group, past the point where you have any control to. Okay. Sorry about that. Mom's calling, but she's got to wait. um, it gets it gets to the point where I see it getting to a point where um, some of these groups are going to stop being in control of it, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Um, I really don't. A couple of the things that I've seen, like somebody will make a joke and then they immediately talk about free speech or comedy being dead. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're just kind of going with the flow here. Hang in there, Bob. We'll get there. Um, no, I'm not done with a lot of folks. Um, I'm really not, because I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. Nobody's too far gone. It's just like I said, we're at the guy has first walked into the bar stage. It's not um it hadn't took over the whole bar yet. But I've noticing a lot of things across, and it's not just one group. And I watch a lot of channels with that aren't in the circles that are in chat right now. Uh it it's and I think some of it's kind of out of control when you get a large enough group. Like if you start getting over 10,000 subscribers, how much control do you really have over the people that are in your chat and in your group? Um, you How much control can you have? And this is kind of a across YouTube. I see just one little snide comment, here or there. And, we're all of everybody in chat right now, and, everybody who maybe watch this later, we've been on the internet long enough that, don't ever read the comments. But, there's this big movement right now, free speech. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. Free speech isn't something that the government's not coming after you. We're not that important. We're YouTubers. That doesn't mean that you can say really shitty things and not get busted in the mouth. I don't know. It's like, I kind of agree. There was a comment made the other day. Somebody was talking about one of the Disney live action movies, Snow White, and somebody made somebody made the comment that anybody over the age of 40 that cares about Snow White, I immediately unsubscribed from. But I think that was a perfect point. But and listen, nothing's happening. I'm just getting some things off my chest about maybe just the type of person I am and the type of people that I want to really kind of associate with. That's also what's happening. Again, I'm not trying to create drama or anything like that. I just think that a lot of us are really just, I don't know if it's just to try to be the loudest voice in the room that we yeah, listen, I mean, what we just need to do is agree that all live action Disney sucks, and problem is solved. Um that's that that's easy solution. But it's, I don't know. I don't want to lose myself in this point. It's just, I've just started noticing that more and more channels that I follow, especially live stream ones, seem to be, and it's, I don't know if I want to put it to the level of losing control of their channels, because I don't believe that they've lost control. I don't believe that. Well, tell me what you think that source and reason of it, tell me what you think that source is, Jeff. At ignoring Disney is one thing, but it's, there's other things that just we can't ignore and shouldn't ignore. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and that's something that has definitely bothered me. And I've noticed that. you had somebody, that was, I actually, I came on, this is kind of I hope I can tell this story, Rowdy, if you'll let me. Um, I came on to Rowdy's channel the other day, and at first I thought, I came in just enough to catch the um comment, and I thought, oh well, here's somebody who thinks that they're in a that are, feel safe enough in this group to express themselves and, you know, divulging a few things, and then suddenly I realized that's not what the situation was. That it was, you know, somebody being absolutely horrible. And um it real quickly went to, it can, all it takes is just one little thing, and it can change the whole dynamic of your show, the chat, e- e- everything. And I went from really enjoying the show to immediately worried for Rowdy, who was running her show, and worried which direction the chat was going to go. And it just, that's not that's not what anybody gets on these shows to do. And it's not what anybody gets into chat to hear. And you're just one person. I don't have moderators here on my channel. So if things go wrong, and then I'm limited in what I can do to respond to it, and and anybody who's ever watched a live stream go wrong knows that chat can turn on you real quick. And then um well um and I have seen and it's across a lot of channels. And some of those channels are, they see that attention and it gives them growth. So they look at the things that are giving them growth, they repeat it, and then that becomes what that station is, that channel is. Um, and there's a couple right now that I've just had to not only unsub, but just completely not interested in this channel. Uh, and that's sad. I mean, we're talking about channels that I've enjoyed for, onwards of 5 years or more. Um, just shit that just, and a change. So it yeah, but you listen, and that Aaron guy is not commandusery. That guy is psychotic. When he will go to a toy show and stalk you and then talk about your family live on air, that's not common. There's nothing common about that. That's a police report. That's action should be taken. Because if he won't do anything, when is it going to be one of his followers that does? So you've always got to have an eye on your six. That guy is definitely, that's a whole nother thing. I'm talking about people who are the homophobia is definitely something that I am really talking about a lot of. That's something that, and listen, man, some of the raunchiest gay jokes I have ever heard were told to me by some of my gay friends. Shit, I guess lawyers know the best lawyer jokes, blacks know the best black jokes, and gays know the best gay jokes, and fat people know the best fat jokes. So, there's that. But yeah, and that is right there is exactly, that's really a lot of what I'm saying is it's just one or two people, and then it changes the dynamic of an entire channel. People who aren't important, hell, most of them are people I've never seen before. 5 years of watching channels, and within the last 3 months, some little anonymous jackass comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden the whole channel is and I hope you never do, Ratty, because that they are. But see, you know, I'll tell you something. I'm gonna talk a little bit about American history here. So, uh, the people who are really the loudest, and and with the just if you want to tell a gay joke, tell a gay joke, but make it a good one. Okay, make it something that if you've got gay friends and they don't laugh, then your joke wasn't funny and you're just being a dick. And you talk about free speech. Do you realize that you wouldn't have it if it weren't for a gay man? We wouldn't have America wouldn't exist if it wasn't for a gay man. Bet you don't know that American history. But look up von Steuben, who was exiled from his country and fought for the American Revolution because he was accused of being gay. There's your American history for you. Like I just it's humor is fine, and it's it's across the board, and I'm not even going to just focus. It's there's I've noticed something, and I had it mentioned to me the other night that I shouldn't be allowed to get upset because they're not talking about me. I am a, you know, mostly white man, and I'm not gay. Why should I get upset? Because it's just bad form, sir. What got me upset the other day was somebody talking about um what came up was Romani's. And for a number of years, uh, I mean, they made a goddamn House episode about it, and that's at least 20 years old. That this knowledge that Romani's consider the word gypsy a slur. And I'm not supposed to get upset by that. It's not bad form, or it's not bad form that I get upset. It's what um it yeah, von Steuben was that guy. Just seriously, if you just want to read nothing else, some amazing history of some guy who was just badass in all shape and form, read about von Steuben. it They do, and it doesn't take any effort. And I'm not saying you've got, but it's what I'm talking about is even beyond that. If you're profiting off oppression, then there's a word for that. Um, I see. I knew I got talked out of it. I went psychology and art, and I had a guy. Let me lighten the room just a little bit. So I had an history teacher named Sam, and I loved him because he had the same name as my grandfather. And history is something that I have always been from day three. Pop culture, history, it's kind of it's right along the same, you know. Uh, he told me in the first day of history class that there were three different people in his classroom right now. The ones that had to be there because it was a general studies class, and he said, for those, you have my sympathy. I too have to be here. And he says, two, he says, those that are taking this as okay, I forget which one that one was. But anyway, he said three. Then there's those that are here. Oh, wait, those that are taking this because you want to be history professors or some kind of social studies teacher. And he says, you have my respect. And he says, three, there's those that are here because they like history. And those people are sick and demented and should be avoided at all costs. um, for the most part, I feel pretty welcome in the toy community. But there are some channels I used to frequent that I go and chat now, and I get scared of what people say randomly for no reason. And that is exactly where I'm at. And I'm just an old straight white man. And I get nervous about what I'm reading. Kaiju Kitty, any part you play is a welcome part. It's one of those, I don't want to say it's where the world's starting to go because I don't want to see that happen. And YouTube has always been a place where I have always found, and I know some people don't like the word community, so I won't use it. I am a little standoffish on it myself. YouTube is a place, especially in the toy world, I've always found fellowship, and I've always found common ground with some people I absolutely don't agree with on anything else. But we come together with toys. Yes. But it's a step farther than that. The just jokes is fine. And it's not even that somebody is really out to, I think the people that I'm talking about are outright looking to offend. They're looking to hook that drama. They're trolling. That's it. They're trolling. They either they fully believe the shit that's, that they're typing, or they're just saying it to get a rise out of the group. But here's where the problem is, and here's what I'm getting at. The minute one comment gets unaddressed, that welcomes more comments. And eventually, the good people who are there, who just want to enjoy a toy show, or some old fat white man draw on his iPad, which he ain't fucking doing. We were promised drawing. That gets overwhelmed because eventually, if I've got nothing but fuckers spewing hate, and that's getting me 1,000 subs, and that's getting me 4,000 hours, that got me monetized, and I've start seeing that money coming in, and I'm getting super chats from these people and shit like that. Am I financially motivated to put a stop to these people at this point? That's where I'm at. I see good people I truly believe are good people, that either aren't the people I thought they were, or they don't know what to do. You should be morally obligated. You absolutely should be. And you should be, oh God, two women kiss. Shit, I remember when they did that on Deep Space Nine, and it's there's literally 400-year-old Japanese. There's literally 3,000-year-old graffiti and everything of two women kissing. if we're still getting upset of it over it after 3,000 years, then maybe we deserve damnation and doom. I don't know. But this isn't just about um this is just it's about respect. Is really what it is. That's ultimately the end of what I'm talking about is just being respectful. That's all you got to do to get along with anybody in this world. I walked for 4.5 years with 120 pounds on my back across multiple cultures, countries, continents, through some places that just people are like, how are you alive? Respect. And I was probably too dumb to know I didn't I didn't have to I wasn't supposed to be there. Dens, your package is mailed. I will message you the tracking number for both boxes. Your $300 worth of boxes. um you know, people talk about Generation X, and I'm kind of I don't know that that's where I am. You know, I was born in 75. Um, I think that puts me in Generation X. I remember a time before internet and dial phones, and the original Fall Guy. One thing that you had was you were respectful. And when you weren't, man, sometimes you got your face turned around like Daffy Duck. I was definitely of a generation to where, you know, if you were disrespectful at school, you went across street to the alley. Am I Gen X? Okay, yeah, that fits. Um, it and people talk about Gen X. I see a lot of things that Gen Xers post, and they're, you know, and I think Gen Xers might be part of the fucking problem. It we think we can say anything. And if you get upset, you're a wussy. I think that was the term in school, wussy. You know, um, it. I got my wife's a millennial, and I've definitely had multiple talks with my daughter, who is, I don't know, what do they call your generation? She says her generation is I don't fucking know. So, um, it um oh, yeah, I think we called him a pussy. But you know what? I stopped calling people pussies because pussies can take a beating and then and pop out a fucking watermelon. So pussies are kind of tough. Oh, oh, you're Gen Z? Okay, so my daughter is Gen Z. That doesn't make any sense. If I'm Gen X, so does that mean technically Gen X or Gen Millennials or Gen Y? Gen Y, the fuck are you, millennial? See, that's funny. Um, But man, the name of Betty White has been invoked. I don't think that Jen, why the fuck it's back to alpha now. We got so screwed up we started over. But forever. I never honestly I thought that woman would never go. I think she didn't die. I think one day she just said, you know what? I just need a really, really good fucking nap. Peace out. There's just there's I'm going to admit a little political belief here. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I believe that you should criticize and scrutinize every inch of your government, but I do believe in the government. It's been good for 200 something years, you know. But I think more and more of the disrespect that I see is something I've never I don't see. I don't want to go down this road because it's going to make me say something that I don't want to say. There just seems to be a line of disrespect that comes into I must offend you because you're you're no, that's just it. That I must offend you. Yeah, that's there it is, 100%. You know what I'll say? Let me say it like this: if you run a YouTube channel and you want to be political, then do it. But don't bullshit about it. It was said a few weeks ago, there was a show on that said, if you're going to shill, fucking get into shill, do it. If you want to be if you want to be a toy channel that does politics, then be upfront about it. Quit wasting my fucking time investing years into following you and then decide all of a sudden that this is what you're going to be, that I'm going to be a political channel. Why you would be a political channel when all you want to talk about is toys makes no sense to me. That it's but own it. And I think that's something that that they just some of these channels want to really just kind of push some humor that is only funny to certain people. And it's not a road I can follow because most of it is they think it's funny because it's for the sole purpose that it's meant to offend people that they see that are beneath them. And that's not funny. That's just being a dick. I guess there's really nothing else I can really say about it. You know, I had some other things that I was going to talk about and shit like that, and you know, and this isn't just about, and I don't want to make this just about, you know, some of the homophobia, because that's absolutely not the only thing. It's if you yeah, exactly. It's you're infringing upon my escapism. And just stop it. I'm here to have fun. If I want to deal with real world shit, I'll turn on the fucking news. Not going to do that. But I, you know, that's an option for me. If I want to go to some fucking homophobic dickhead's channel and hear his fucking politics, then I know where to fucking look. It's there. They've said that's what I am. They've made it clear. It's not just a bunch of people who feel safe in your community who just have to pipe up little nips, just little something, just here and fucking there, just you know, that's you know, just come out. It's Infurious Bastards. The end scene is perfect. You know, you're gonna go home, you're gonna take off that fancy little Yahtzee new uniform and be around regular folk. And we want to make sure everybody knows. Fucking carves that shit into his fucking forehead. Get out front with it. If you want to be a hateful fucking cunt, let everybody know this is what you're buying the minute you walk in the door. And it's not just, you know, this is escapism for all of us. Nobody collects toys because they're that's that it's I want to nobody has a scotch and a cigar to, you know, it's we all as adults, you know, as a it's we want to be kids again because adults aren't fucking real. We're all stupid fucking meat sacks that don't know what the fuck we're doing and trying to get along with each other or destroy each other. That's, you know, there's that. We're always trying to do that too. I'm going to be 50 years old on the 19th. And is that a fucking cookie? And I got a cookie. I'm going to eat that cookie. Y'all would watch. I hope y'all got a cookie too, because you can't have mine. Mm. That's a good cookie. One bite? Here, get your bite. All right. I'm at the first hour being angry. Now I want to talk about some positive. How can we fix this? Mm. I don't know what that is. There it is. We're talking about cookies. All right. So we're going to talk about cookies for the next hour. And we're going to talk about ways, just all right. I want to talk about some of the silly shit that I had written down. So I'm going to talk about the Fantastic Four. These are some of the dumb comments that I have been bombarded with. Not anything that is hateful or anything like that. But another fucking cookie? Oh my God. I don't need this. Mm. Mm. Oh my God. She has a great ass and can bake the best cookies. Oh, then HGC, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's. Oh. Man, I'm glad to hear that. I only buy Disney Plus as seldom as possible. So I want to make sure that when I do buy like 1 week of it, that I can get everything packed into one. See, it's funny you mentioned that, Leah. I was going to talk about the new Fantastic Four trailer. So some of the stupid shit that I hear commented is that they had to change the trailer to make Reed Richards stretchy. Reed Richards was stretchy the whole time. You want to know how I know? Because I saw a leak for the toy, and the toy was stretchy, which means that toy's been in production for at least 6 to 8 months. Which means they didn't change shit. That toy wasn't legit. Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, Reed Richards has one thing. He stretches and he's smart. So I'm going to be hard pressed to think that that they pulled a Sonic the Hedgehog on Reed Richards. So but shit like that shit amuses me. I don't care. I hope they did. If they changed it, then good. They needed to. Them making the Silver Surfer a woman. Who gives a shit? Somebody does, but I don't. Because this is my thing. What I find so much amusement in the quips and quarrels that is the YouTube toy communities, that the Frank Cho outrage. They made my Silver Surfer a woman. You didn't give two shits. Now, again, I'm generalizing a little bit here. There is some people out there who's probably generally mad because Silver Surfer is their man. And, I'm a Billy Squier fan, so I like the Silver Surfer. And I definitely kind of wish they'd, stuck. But they did that, and, but yeah, and that's true too. I can't get upset about changes. It's not in me. I have been reading comics since, well, the first comic I read, as I've said here many times, was G.I. Joe issue 49. And it was pretty much a landslide from there. I sold $10,000 worth of comics a month after my daughter was born. So I had a few. I have read within just the time span of 1984, I believe, to 2001. I have read so many reimaginings, reboots, retellings, fix this, change that, multiverse, comic book stories that I'm dead inside to it. I'm dead inside. You could change every part about it. You could have a bunch of cockroaches running around on the screen and be like, the new Fantastic Four movie. And I'd be like, cool. Let's see where this goes. Probably not roaches. I don't like roaches. Yeah, that toy better have some cake, like some ROM level cake. That's what I'm saying. Give me, everybody's like, when them female action figures coming out? Wasn't there a female Silver Surfer? That was after Norrin Rad, though. I know HDC or Jeff will tell me. I thought the second trailer was good. The first trailer was just, I don't know. It was a teaser trailer. It wasn't supposed to be anything. I hated. Now, I don't want to use the word hate. There's enough of that in this fucking world. I thoroughly did not enjoy the last couple Fantastic Four movies. It's his waifu. Damn, son. It's funny, HGC, that you mentioned Flash, because that is the only time that I believe the multiverse should have ever been used. Now I am a firm believer, if you have to use multiverse or time travel to fix your story, you didn't have shit to begin with. Yeah, see, I thought it was something like that. I'm not, listen, outside of Billy Squire, I'm not, Fantastic Four wasn't ever really my jam. So, how they go with it's going to be interesting to see. Doctor Doom, that is my jam, though. And I know that's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see where they go with that, because having the Fantastic Four and not having some kind of Doom is, and they've fucked it up before. But yeah. Well, and listen, I wouldn't really worry or go out of my ways, but okay, allow me to retract my statement. Days of Future Past and Age of Apocalypse are amazing story arcs, and those thoroughly screwed over by Sony Motion Pictures. So that is definitely, yeah. You get a nod, sir. I stand corrected. I mean, you're getting Galactus in there, so they've got to get Galactus right. And it gives them a good excuse to redo some of the toys. The non-HasLab Galactus is was pretty decent toy. So I don't know. I just everybody nowadays, just every story is um multiverse or time travel, and it's there's only 5 scripts in Hollywood, and 3 of them are, Seven Samurai and Wolf and Cub. So that yeah. See, this is it. This is how you fix the world. Just talk about toys and movies. That's it. And don't worry about, that's you can't worry about how a director envisions your favorite story. And that's something that's always kind of astounded me with and again, and I'm not knocking this. This is absolutely within everybody's wheelhouse to get bothered by what they do with your story. The story of your generation, you HGC, you talk about the Days of Future Past. That was an amazing reading it in comics it's still, there's a reason they put it together in an omnibus, because it's that good a story arc. And then Sony gets a hold of it and does whatever that was that I watched. Now I will admit that Apocalypse first scene with in that X-Men movie when Apocalypse, I really wanted to like that movie because that version of Apocalypse was really kind of cool, in my opinion. But it was just a shit movie. And how are you going to make Psylocke look bad? Come on. Come on. Shit. Yeah, I know. And it's, you know, I think a lot of it, I think the Bayverse would not be as popular as it is. And no matter how we feel about it, it made enough money that he made five, up to 5 movies. Um, People like it. I'm not one of those people, but I'll watch them. How does that fucking work? How does that work? I'm so starved for good media that I'll watch anything. It's kind of like the new GI Joe stuff, the Energon universe, which you know what? If it was self-contained, I think my problem with it is not what it is that that's what they want that to be the only thing there is. Um, and I'm not okay with that. It having one big Hasbro universe bothers me on a fundamental level. So Hasbro's got enough control of shit they don't need anymore. So I don't know. It just hope we don't get any more writer strikes, because every time we get a writer strike, that's another 5 to 10 years of shit storylines, shit movies, and shit TV and shit worlds. Realize, look at the chain of events. Everybody's like, it was Harambe and it probably absolutely was, that broke us off on an bad alternative timeline. But almost every problem with the exception of COVID, that's going on with the world today. Look back to that first writer's strike years ago that gave us reality TV, and watch how things kind of fell apart from there. Yes. And I am so glad for that. And he finally kind of fixed all that, brought everything back around, finished, no spoilers, but if you read up to issue 300 of A Real American Hero, G.I. Joe, he got, he kind of fixed everything from that issue 300, got it all sealed up, and now he's moving back into the action. I'm God, I really, because I'm just a diehard Larry Hama guy, but even I gotta admit, that's some brutal shit, man. It's good storying. It's I One thing I dislike about it is the old comic trope that they did back in the multi-cover, the hey, true believer, you should read issue 310 to learn what happened in last week's issue 401. Just give me one fucking story. Quit. I don't want to have to buy 6 fucking comics to know what's going on. And I know they've got it worked out. They do it a little sweet. I'm building up. God, they made Cobra Commander just I really want to not like it. Maybe that's why I'm enjoying it so much. So you win this round, Yo Joe Daddy. They're doing a good job with it, and I'm even liking some of the Transformer stuff. So it's a new take on it, and I can't be hypocritical. If I'm gonna sit there and tell everybody calm the fuck down because Silver Surfer's a woman, that it doesn't matter, then I gotta be like, okay, Globulus got Megatron, on ice in Cobra Law. We're gonna see how that works. Somebody attached Starscream to his tank. It's not a tank. This is what I love. This is what I've loved for the last 5 years or so on YouTube. This conversation, it I was okay, HGC, with that Marky Mark one until they started talking about ages of consent, and he had a card that he carried. That some of those movies make me feel uncomfortable. Why are we talking about this in the Transformers movie? Where's Megan Fox at? Oh, but this is what I love. This is, I believe that 100%. I believe that. It's not that it needs that much. There's so many stories in between. Like, I'll Hey, Talib. Yeah. Yeah. There was no reason for that at all. Take him, G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. If you go from issue 1 to 100, just taking within that space right there, you've got 100% of almost every character's framework laid out. The entire basis of what's going on, why it's going on, how it's happening. You're going on from there. There are so many crevices in each of those stories that you could infinitely write and fill in those gaps. Like what they did, IDW did that little short series. I've got it over on the shelf. How they brought Shooter into it. The 14th Joe, the one you see just the name of covered by a fist on the monitor. And in the very first issue of A-Ra. And when IDW brought her in and did the storyline with her, it was amazing. I mean, just that was one of those little niches that you get in between stories and take it, hell, so many. If you had nothing other than the first 100 issues of G.I. Joe A-Ra, have a good show, Jeff. And make sure you check out Jeff, Universally Redundant, on all channels, broadcasting always. There's so many, and with Transformers, they fucked up the comics from almost day one. The minute they brought Spider-Man into like issue 2, it was already almost over, and they kind of bared it back, but Transformers has always been one that it's hard to nail down a real history of how things are, because it's one, I think there was one comic that did the Megatron Origins, and you understand that there's no way to tell that story without getting just immersed in Cybertronian politics and how, the Autobots aren't really the good guys. And the Decepticons, came about of rising out of forced labor and oppression. And then it becomes something different where you go back to the Autobots being the good guys and the Decepticons being the bad guys. So that is a great, if you've never read Megatron Origins, it's just a single comic. You can also get to see a picture of Megatron with his helmet off. And it is really, the some of the senators like Soundwave trying to destroy the political system from the inside and destroy it for personal gain and power. Ratbat's role in this. Yes, it was from the IDW era. I've got it's an amazing story, and there is more. It is probably the most immersive Transformers comic and story that I've ever read. And I've read some that don't have any pictures. I don't think IDW gets a lot of the credit that they deserve, and some of the writers that they had. Um, even with GI Joe, I mean, you had Max Brooks write some amazing GI Joe stories. Agreed. Yeah, it was good. There's a website. I want you to be careful if you go to it and make sure that you have some good ad blocking software installed and some anti-malware, because I can't always, you know, uh, you just need to be careful going to it. But readcomicsonline.io. I do not endorse this page. I always believe that you should buy your comics. But also know that once I buy my comics, I don't like to get my greasy little cookie eating fingers on it. So I like to have another source to read. But they have a fairly good comic database, going back to some weird stuff. But they've got almost every GI Joe comic ever printed, all the Transformers, including the UK. Actually, maybe you have to go to the UK Transformers comic. You may have to go to a different website for. They may have it on there, or they have a link. But yeah, agreed. See, and that's the problem. It just, everybody, they it starts getting good and it starts getting attention, and then I think that's anytime something starts making money, you're going to have somebody start coming in from the outside saying, "Hey, you should start doing this." And unfortunately, it sometimes there's just isn't shit you can really do about that situation other than just say, "Well, you know what? You want to fuck it up, do it on your own." But that's a resolve that not a lot of people have. It Yeah. I didn't care, at the Netflix Transformers series, the War for Cybertron. I enjoyed it because it was kind of, and again, you know what? A little bit of spoilers with this, so you've been warned. Um, it's kind of a multiverse thing, so I guess in that way it works out. So maybe somehow, it it's it was watchable. Again, when you're starved for media, any port in a storm. Um, yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was, yeah, I had a complete collection of it. Oh my God, woman, quit. This one's got nuts. That's a lot of nuts. Oh, but you ain't got no cookie. You ain't got no cookie. Mm. Ah. See, I can do gross shit too. Oh, that one hit wrong. Um, Okay, Rowdy got a cookie. we I guess the answer to get better media is just to sit down and fucking write it. I know a lot of writers who, have expressed their displeasure with certain, IPs, and yeah, I don't know. I would like there was a short story GI Joe book that came out called Cobra Wars. Max Brooks did a story, a couple others. Um, hell, even taken some of the animated cart. So an idea that I had once with a writer friend of mine, he was also a GI Joe fan, was rewrite the animated series and almost word for word, but make it brutal and take all the PSA humor out of it, um and just really, kind of like. And ultimately, I said, "Why do that?" Larry Hama's already doing that, but I think up until there's certain stories that you could like. What's the two-parter where um, Steeler gets bit? He's turns out that they like three of them get sent to a world that Cobra rules, and Steeler turns out to be they're all dead in that world. Worlds Without End, part 1 and 2. I think that was it. That was good writing. A little bit of the science fictiony, but still good writing. I don't think a lot of the writers for the animated series got a lot of the credit they deserve, except whoever wrote that stupid um, Excalibur episode. That dude can go fuck himself. But I don't think that was a dude. I think it might have been a lady. So I take that back. I think if we, getting some short stories, I would have liked to seen. You know what? I'm going to quit even talking about it because I honestly don't know how to get more media than what we're getting. And I don't know if we're going to. Had to go pick up medication today, and I wandered through the toy aisle, and you know, everybody keeps talking about toys disappearing. Every aisle was full except for the one with toys you like. So, what does that mean? Kids section, all the young lady section, Legos. Oh, you want to buy fucking Legos? And I'll tell you something. You can, it. Yeah, if adults are looking for it, which kind of sucks for the kids. That It really sucks for the kids. Not and I don't think I damn sure don't think every parent is buying their kids $30 action figures. but some of them are. I see a lot of people, young kids around town wearing Spider-Man, Superman. So I know some of those McFarlane and Marvel Legend toys are going to them kids. And I damn sure see them picking apart GameStops. It's not just have we as adults fucked ourselves out of our own hobby? And by doing so, have we screwed the kids over? Because, you know, hey, I know you're only I know you're half joking with that, but you know, I remember my daughter collected wasn't Paw Patrol, it was Littlest Pet Shop. And geez Louise, I don't even want to tell you how much space that shit's still taking up in my shipping container. um yeah, it's and that's always good. You know, it's I think Laser Pants said one time that he's just a I think I think it was him that said it that we're just custodians of this. That you know, this is all it's all going to be my this is already all my kid shit. I'm just holding on to it for her. And she knows it too. She's already like, let me see, I can get 75. That Serpentor's going for 250. Bats ain't worth nothing. Yeah, it's oh. I don't know. It's just a little bit of a straying thought that maybe we're responsible for our own demise because you know I live in a town that they like to call a retirement community. And when I had my tattoo shop here, you know, get some of their better wishes for 13 years. Well, my demographic, because I didn't work on minors, didn't even allow in my shop, was 18 to 25-year-olds. And under that demographic, I was the only business in this town that met that age group. And these businesses used to just always, every time I'd talk to them, well, Max, how do you get these young people? And you know, what can we do? How do we get, you know, young people business? You give them something to fucking do. This town has made it a point to run out anything youth related. Um, and they wonder why the kids, and it's a college town. It's a college town that has no business for young people, 18 to 25. And every Friday about 2-3 o'clock when classes start getting out, there is an exodus of cars. Takes you an hour to get out of this fucking town because all them kids are leaving and taking their money with them. And I'm wondering how I can look at that same model as what's going on in the toy aisle. have we as adult collectors just demanded so much that now it just, if it burns, it all burns, and there's nothing, for anybody. And that's just me pondering. I'm not, it's some of these kids, it is, I am Gen X, so apparently somebody in chat told me so. That I remember, but I've always had video games. Still had well, you know what I say, I had video games. I had an Intellivision and Atari 2600, and I'm pretty sure I was not even close to the first person in my town to get a NES. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Most of the people are, and I'm going to make an assumption here, HGC, our generation, um, that they like the Bayverse stuff. That's their Transformers. I don't know how they can. I can't even see a face. That shit. It's just, it all looks like it's just a blob of gray, or blue and red. Bumblebee was the most Transformer looking Bayverse figure they had, and then they took away his voice. So and I know that's going to be their Transformers. When I was a kid, really young, again, my parents antiquity dealers, so I had a bunch of the old Marx toys. Still love them. I mean, just really wonderful stuff, thought out. Uh, More than a little bit of it, a little bit racist, but um, the old Mego figures, that the old Dell comics. Oh my God, I used to read the early Duck comics, all the Scrooge McDuck and the old Donald Duck comics. And you want to, hey, listen, if anybody listening really wants to do a iceberg, just type in a YouTube search for Duck comic artist, and you will have at least the next 5 hours of your life inundated with some of the most amazing artists that we've ever had in the comic book world, and some amazing writing as well for Duck comics. And of course, it started making money, so of course Disney fucked it up. Um, Listen, I'm going to tell you, we've been doing this now for almost 2 hours, and I have only just touched on Disney. I promise you, I could do about a 4 hour. In fact, I have. I had a radio show one time where I went into the many faults and fallacies of Disney. And I'm pretty sure that was in, 2001. So I'm fairly certain it being 2025, I could probably do about 6 to 8 hours on Disney, and none of it good. So I definitely did not have my Uncle Walt chip installed. That's adorable. Out of the mouths of babes. Yeah, I'm glad that we could turn this around, and I don't know that we came to any solutions for the first hour of this show. If nothing else, that maybe just one or two comments made open some people's eyes, but I'm glad that the second half of this show is just straight nerd and geek talk. I am. Oh, speaking of which, so the little page punchers that McFarlane put out got the Cobra Commander and the little CG. So I thought that they were just 5 or POA. So here, I'll show you this way. So check this out. So I was thinking that it was just the head turned and the legs moved and the arms went up and down. It's got a waist swivel and it's got some. The arms go. It's got some little baby butterfly joints in this thing. These things are absolutely outstanding. I thought the arms just went up and down, just regular like Star Wars like. But no, they totally go out. Yeah, it's my iPad. I don't know how I just didn't pay any attention to those that I just discovered that the other day. I don't know. I haven't. If I still have any original mask, I want to say these, like, you know what? It's McFarlane. So fuck no, it doesn't scale with anything that you like. Come on. Come on. I want to say these are a little bit bigger than the OG mask figures. If Jeff was here, I would ask him, because I know he's got some, what these are exactly 3 inches tall and 1 inch across. Jeff, how tall are the OG mask figures with mask? What, 2.5 inches? Two inches. So these figures are, yeah, it's McFarlane. That yeah, that fits. They're an inch bigger than anybody wants them to fucking be. So buy my toys. You just they're wonderful. You will like them. Just buy my toys. Giggity. Oh, McFarlane. At 1 second. Excusez-moi. I don't know why he does that. I know why he does that, because yeah, I want to be different. That's, and I can respect that, but at the same time, it's really fucking annoying. We're about ready to go. At I guess if that's your little, passive aggressive way of shut the fuck up, Max, and come over to my channel, then just say that. It's okay. You're the best, Rowdy. Don't be mad at me. McFarlane has always been like that. It's even even when it's comics, yeah, okay, whatever, Rowdy. That's fine. Everybody make sure to go check out Rowdy Riles and send that woman her $1. Man, if I could only talk for 23 minutes, my fucking head would explode. Ask my mother. I never talked as a kid. I was always the quiet one. Just sit in the back of the class and drew. And I don't know what happened. I remember doing speech and debate in high school. And the first time I ever got in front of a room of people, I probably come close to having a heart attack, because I remember that the teacher got scared because I turned as red as my fez and started shaking and just I could not speak, couldn't get a word out, nothing. And something just changed fairly quickly because I did pretty good in speech and debate. Maybe it was just getting that first time over and done with. I did really well in Lincoln Douglas debates when those were still a thing. But we need support your local Lincoln Douglas debate venue, wherever that may be, if they still exist in your area. I took all state Class A cast and drama. Worked radio for a few years, did a lot of production work. Sunday, this weekend at the Coliseum, come see big 4x4 trucks. All that you could imagine. Bring the kids. Man, I did so much of that shit. I don't know how I have a voice. Come this weekend to the Samurai Sake House on May Avenue, Oklahoma City. Sake. All you can drink live with Blade Runner. 1210 KGYN, voice of the High Plains. Your weather is 79 degrees and it's 6:58, top of the hour. News at 11. I don't know what happened after I got up after that first speech and debate where I shook and was paralyzed, but I ain't shut the fuck up since. So I have talked for 2 hours. And I go for another 2 hours, except my back hurts and I got a cookie to eat. See, I don't know. I damn sure should not have been a politician. I'm way too much of an old school punk to do that shit. I know it looks like I have hair, but I promise you I still got my mohawk. I had a really nice leather jacket till I ruined it at a Guar concert and then traded it to a gutter punk named Spot for a tattoo out in a national forest in Ocala, Florida, where I got fed shrooms and talked to the sun so long I'm lucky I have eyesight left. Fine to leave. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Tell the boys hi. Well, I'm glad, Dens, and but I really next week I promise we're going to get back to regular programming where I'm going to draw something or paint something, or I don't know. Maybe I'll just talk about assholes for another 2 hours. So I want to go eat some cookies. So y'all have a great night. And everybody who's stuck around, just look out for each other. That's all anybody's got to do. Doesn't matter if you're the most fundamentalist of Christian and your neighbor screams, Satan as he bangs his girlfriend. Just look out for each other. That's all you got to do. And I'm going to end tonight, as always, with Collins' Gym Dictionary of Quotations. And we will go to... Oh, I went too far. The Lord's temporal say nothing. The Lord's spiritual have nothing to say. And the House of Commons has nothing to say and says it. We are dominated by journalism. That's interesting. And I don't know who that's attributed to. So I'm sure it was some English bloke. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being part of tonight's program and helping to restore the devastated bayous of Louisiana. Be mad, be merry, and have a great night and good fucking luck.